was kosher, perfect like a poster. Then I got word that you wanna lead a picture. Off with somebody else, off with the jerk. With the shame on me, I really thought that it could work. Off with somebody else, off with the loser. Shame on me, I really thought we had a. Lately I be having conversations with myself, cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. I be having conversations with myself, cause I feel like I have nobody to turn to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else, chose you instead. I be having conversations with myself, cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else, chose you instead. Yeah, lately I be having conversations with myself, cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. I be having conversations with myself, cause I feel like I have nobody to turn to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else, chose you instead. I be having conversations with myself, cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. Got up in the morning, took a shot, it's a rock. And girl, you left my stomach in.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tuesday, the 21st of January, 2025, third edition of the year of the Topics. I'm Alan Powell. Thank you for joining us wherever you are, near or far. And this evening, we are going to be discussing Political Theater 2.0. On the first edition, honey, on the first edition of Political Theater 2.0, of Political Theater, sorry, honey, sugar throw me off from my grand entrance. But in the first edition, we would have seen the premier breakup of our government, the federal government at that time. And we witnessed the political theater as a government was destroyed over fair share, which now 2.5 years later, we still have not gotten. And this week, well, last week really, I witnessed some political theater once again in Nevis. Before I get to the political theater though, I'm gonna do a little housekeeping. Once again, as I say, thank you everybody for joining the show, for engaging in the topics. Good evening, Colette. Hope you're well. Thank everybody for joining us. As I say, gonna deal with, as I say, a little housekeeping. Next week, we're gonna be speaking about cannabis. We're gonna have a member of the cannabis board come on, Ras Airai, along with Yason and Banky, and we're gonna speak about cannabis and some other topics. Also, next week, Thursday, I'm going to be on Tell Me with my father, and we're going to be speaking about financial topics. One of the topics I think we spoke about today was the Public Accounts Committee. I've been trying to, since the premier says that, you know, some of us just speak about politics without learning about how governments actually run, and I have been trying to learn and pass on information so that the public could be informed about how the government actually runs. So, supposed to do that next week, Thursday, last Thursday in January. In other housekeeping, I would like to congratulate Mr. Fionn Jones for being named the interim what was it? The interim. He's now in charge of tourism, essentially. I think they said Devon's contract ended on the 17th of January and will not be renewed. So I would I would imagine that quickly we are going to hear that Fian is actually the the permanent. He is no longer interim. Give me a second, ladies. I need to speak to Aaron because I'm hearing it in my ears. You hearing Aaron? I'm hearing Aaron in my ears, and and it is confusing while I am speaking. Mr. Willard, I'm hearing you in my ears, sir. Yes, I'm hearing you. Yes, indeed, I'm hearing your house. I don't know what's going on, but I'm hearing you in my ear. Okay. Hopefully that will be rectified shortly. I'm still hearing my good friend Mr. Willett in my ears. Anyway, shortly I would imagine that Mr. Jones will be named. He will be interim for a very short time, and he will be made given the full appointment shortly. And that would mean that there's going to be a space open again for somebody else to get an opportunity. We're going to get to this when we get to the political theater, but I also think that this is in line with this is basically a punctuation on CCM saying that they are the party of the young people. And I am not against the opportunity. And I also think that he has earned it. I think certain people would look at if you have a tourism degree or something like that, but I think that you could use your degree in various ways. And he has proven an asset in the Ministry of Tourism so far. So, congratulations to Mr. Jones on his appointment. The next thing I wanted to say before I got to the political theater is that I think that the prime minister of the country is a crazy person. He is an insane person. I read a story just before we came on, and the prime minister is asking that there be cameras in the courtroom for the case, the development bank case. Well, this is what the case what he terminated, but this is the case with Len Harris versus Development Bank, however you want to put it. And he thinks that there should be cameras in there. This is not even a criminal matter. This is for a civil matter. This would be like putting a camera in a case like the Amber Heard situation for publicity circumstances. And you don't even know how it's going to turn out. I tried to look to see if this was something that you could do. And this man is just saying things. He was touting a legislation in December saying that they're going to make sure that you have to audit, and if there is any suspension of auditing, that it must pass through Parliament. He was fixing a problem that did not need fixing. The act is already clear about that situation. And any breach of that, in addition, good morning, Miss Jeffers, in addition to any other breaches, really and truly should result in some kind of criminal case. It's just like when Jamie asked the Prime Minister the other day, is there going to be a criminal matter involving Len Harry? And he is adamant that they will get back the money. and we shall see how that goes. There was something else that the Prime Minister would have said. Oh, yes. The Prime Minister announced that there is going to be an impartial body. An independent body is going to resolve the fair share matter. The same matter that caused political theater, the first version. So now we are here, and after last year, we had to hear how there was a change in the leadership. Now this year we are hearing how the all of that has been resolved. The leader apparently is in, he's comfortable now, and he is able to give a decision with regards to CBI. The Prime Minister is quoted as saying that the existing framework for sharing taxable revenue is outlined in our Constitution, but the emergence of non-taxable revenue sources such as the CBI program, has introduced complexities that must be addressed. Ladies and gentlemen, that is utter nonsense, rubbish. The premier has allies in the opposition, one of them being Sean Richards, who he campaigned with in the last federal election, who would attest to the fact that there is no distinction made in the Constitution. If you look at Section 69, it says all revenue. It does not say all not taxable revenue. It does not make any distinction. Even when you read the Citizenship by Investment Act, the new amendment, whichever one you read, it says that the money goes into the consolidated fund as described in Section 69 of the Constitution. I looked for that because I wanted to see whether the CBI created some special fund, which would be an exception. There is none. The politicians need to stop playing games. The premier needs to be clear about what is going on with the CBI money and not continue to position it as a political football in an effort to get 5-year extensions in politics, in my estimation. And also, if I am incorrect, because I am open to the possibility that I do not know anything, I think that other legal professionals should be out here saying, hey, this is how we go. Alan is giving a bad take here. But as I'm saying, when you read the Citizenship by Investment Act, it makes reference to Section 69. Ain't got a special fund. So I feel like the Prime Minister is an insane person who would be an excellent Minister of Health. I think he knows and he is very versed. When he speaks about it, he's animated, he's excited, but he does not know anything in the other very important ministries, finance and national security, in my estimation, to continue to be the Prime Minister of this country. Yeah, I had to deal with the Prime Minister first. Oh, yes. And all of that leads in to here we are going to have the Premier who is going to accept this once again. Because you must understand at the end of the day, the Prime Minister and the Premier are playing the same game. Everybody trying to get to 2027 with the paycheck still cashing. So he's trying to string it out. The Premier is trying to string it out. When we come down to the point where election is going to come, and nothing has happened, the premier ultimately is gonna accuse Dr. Joe of Stalin and being the same as before, and Dr. Joe is gonna throw whatever ammunition he has at the premier. And there are already stances where you are going to see who is already picking a side. Currently, we have been told by the Prime Minister that MSR Media is run by a criminal, a fraudster. And at the same point in time, if you, they are one of the few, I think they might be the only one who is actively marketing CBI passports. And then you still got them and the Navy's tourism authority page. So the same person what we're saying is a fraudster. Anyway, that's gonna come to a head when it comes to a head. But now we will get into the advanced political tactics that were unleashed on the people of Nevis last week by the Concerned Citizens Movement, and in particular, Mark Brantley. Yeah. Now, the particular tactic we have is called manufactured outrage. And you could use this in a number of ways, because you could have a manufacturer consent. You can manufacture all kind of things. This is when people, particularly those in media organizations, take minor concerns held by small amounts of people and not too strongly, even by them, and present them as though they are causing hordes of people to go into chaos. Manufactured outrage also draws on legitimate things that are being said, but blows them way out of proportion to the point of painting a highly misleading picture, mostly a means of getting attention and selling media. Now, although this refers to the media, this is also adapted and used in politics, in business, in a number of fields. So I applaud the Concerned Citizens Movement on this advanced maneuver. But I know this game. I know this game so well. I woke up on Wednesday morning and I was scrolling on my phone and I wasn't paying attention to anything. And my wife looked over at me and she said, "You see this? You hear it?" And I said, "No." And she played the video for me. And when I saw the video, I knew immediately who had posted the video. And I told her what the purpose of the video was, because she was having a legitimate debate about doctors needing to be under another doctor. She was saying, like, in America, they do a residency for between 3 and 7 years. This is on top of the schooling that you already have to do. So she was like trying to have a legitimate debate. And I looked over at her with my dead eyes, and I know she was like, I did all this talking and he's just gonna dismiss it. And I did dismiss it. But I said, "Honey, I know you're making a good point. But however, all that video is gonna be interpreted as is you do not like young people." I just said, "What you mean?" I said, "Okay. Let's watch it unfold." Listen, I even said, tonight, cabinet on Kali. I know. And that was Wednesday morning. Nobody had to tell me nothing. And Wednesday night, anyway, we need to go in chronological order. So let me take you through what happened. And I'm not going to be playing the clip from Miss Bartlett, but I will be critiquing what Miss Bartlett said. Now, even in the clip that the premier played, the specific context she's speaking about is in regards to the emergency room and the emergency situation. And we must all admit, when your life is on the line, you're gonna want steady hand. I have gone into the care of, I think, a couple of the doctors who have been on the picture. One of them actually performed surgery on me right down in the office. When the problem persisted, he referred me to another doctor. Happened to be a more senior doctor, but nonetheless, this was happening. I found the care was good. I don't think anybody has any problem with that. I don't think that that was what she was trying. However, I will. It is important if you are going to be a politician in 2025 to understand that we live in the digital age and you cannot get clipped. You must be considerate in what you say. And sometimes, even when you have a fantastic point, how you say it could still make you lose. I was speaking to a friend and he was explaining to me a situation he was in with his girlfriend. And he wanted to know how he could have lost the argument. Because, on principle, he had logical foundations in his argument. However, he did not deliver his argument in the proper tone. And so he lose the argument because she ended up saying, even though you're right, you not had to tell me so. We're going to talk about that when I speak about Dr. Kelvin Daly later. Because he's also going to get a touch. But with regards to Pat, it is important that you convey the message in a manner that is not offensive. As I say, my wife, who is in the medical field, she was able to be discerning and say, well, she understands that you're speaking about residency, but you're not bringing up residency and then further going on to say, well, somebody younger than you. Pat, come on, you open up yourself for a lot of things. You got people in the 50s younger than you. Where you going to do? Be concerned about that? So you open yourself up to being clipped. It was unfair and unfortunate, as I say. And I don't even, the other part of it is, I don't think that NRP, and once again, I'm going to get to this when I get to Dr. Kelvin Daly. I think that he has been slightly overreacting because ultimately, persons who support the NRP would have been able to listen to the whole clip and understand what was being said. And persons who support the system will always jump on. There is nothing, people who are in the middle of who are going to be discerning. These are the people who you have to appeal to. And if you were offensive in some way, I don't see nothing wrong with saying apologizing. Although, as I say, I had to go and listen to the whole clip. I was taking a break from you political shows, but I listened to everybody. And she did not she was not hating on all young people, because overall she was, well, she was saying some stuff where her point was the medical field is so important, basically, that you should not dispose of persons with knowledge. If you are able to contribute, fine, let them continue to contribute. Another concern I had is with the political theater, and something that I mentioned when I was talking about manufactured outrage. I think both parties are playing that game in some respects. Pat made mention, for example, that people are dying in droves at the hospital with no statistical data. If people are dying in droves, let me know. Tell me this is what going on with the death rate, so that people could make an objective opinion. But I think that this is blown out of proportion. I would have spoken about the fact that there are certain circumstances where people have been failed. Hastings Daniel comes to mind as a situation where, in my estimation, there was a failure. From what I have heard, there was a failure in that respect. But I do not think that this is necessarily reflective of the entire system, but that was a failure. When you look at what happened to Hastings, there's other failures that happen. When you look at how much people I know who don't tell me I end up on drips in the hospital, the way how we does administer drips is a failure. Sometimes the way how we administer painkillers is a failure. But that is not necessarily, as I said, meaning everybody is dying in droves. This is also an attempt at manufactured outrage. Didn't like that. At least not without statistical evidence. One other thing, because I actually ended up listening to Pat, so I just want to say certain things that frustrated me a little bit with Pat. Pat, you just hear a lot of things. And just like a how me da ask the premier something, because the premier say he went pan the block and he hear so. And I say, what? Which block you went pan? I know you don't got the black party. I don't know you to be like a black man like that. But if you are hearing so much of things, Pat, I think that it is necessary that you investigate. Because I feel like if you are able to investigate and if you are able to come up with concrete things, as I say, when you are critiquing the premier, it's gonna strengthen the pressure that you're putting on him. And I would also agree that, like, this manufactured outrage, I see the premier gone with, you have to admit Pat is somewhere in the premier's head at this particular moment in time. I think Pat made a great point when she said that we need an epidemiologist. We need to understand more the causes of death. I was shocked the other day when I heard Lisa Lee had died during the Christmas condolences to the bereaved family. I was shocked. She younger than me, and just sudden so. So I do feel like an epidemiologist would play a major role and would be able to allow us to know why we are getting sick, and things we could do to counteract these sudden illnesses. Another thing what that frustrated me with Pat is that, and Pat, like, Pat, listen, I trying to come be constructive. I hope you see that I tell you that I like the epidemiologist thing. But maybe this is more of a question. Because Pat was saying that people need to advocate, petition their politicians to report to them. And I was wondering, shouldn't that be her? And this is, once again, but you ask, well, who is Lisa Lee, and Lisa Lee from over your ends? Lisa Lee, who used to be a principal, I think a head teacher of the preschool in town. Above the same preschool everybody talk about, the preschool above the complex. I can't even say the complex no more. What's it called? The Nedax complex. But Lisa Lee, I think she from Butlers. Big bottom. Can't miss that. Yes, definitely. Yeah, Lisa had a tremendous design. Okay. So I was just wondering, should Pat be saying that you need to advocate, or should she be giving you the reasons why you need to be advocating? And overall, in general, Pat, I would like for you to be more informed. I would like listen the CCM shows. Follow them. I like politicians who engage in the art of war and the 40 laws of power. See how the premier do manufacture the outrage? I'm proud. I see tactics. Oh, now you know who I'm speaking about. Ladies and gentlemen, my first evidence to tell you that this is manufactured outrage and this is false is that you need to understand the show happened on Monday. I had my show on Tuesday. I didn't know Pat say nothing. As I tell you, I was taking a break from these political shows. It's Tuesday. It is Wednesday morning. This happened. And I tell you, when I see this, I know I didn't have to scroll up to see his premiere Mark Brownlee make the post. And you know exactly what time it is. I know why the post is made. That is advertisement for Andy Mark Wednesday night. Everything game. And it is important to note also on Tuesday is the Let's Talk program, in which Spencer Brand appears. And you get a long introduction. You get a runway. You could say what you want. Introduction will take like 15 minutes. So Spencer was not outraged. Spencer wasn't outraged Wednesday either. But he definitely wasn't outraged Tuesday. He didn't say nothing about that. You know what they were talking about Tuesday? ChatGPT. Artificial intelligence. This is what I was talking about. There was no outrage. You get to Wednesday. You get to Wednesday now. And as I say, I get the video, so I know what time it is. I still ain't gonna listen on the map. Okay? And I don't know what time it is. I go there and I listen to the premiere. And the premiere is speaking from on high. and the premier is sweating, and as fast as he sweat, he dribble too. But he's preaching to the congregation that CCM is the party of the youth. And look how NRP is attacking the young doctors and the hospital and the staff and all kind of thing as a distraction. So that we not actually talk about the hospital. So that we not actually talk about geothermal. So that we not actually talk about the airport and have no follow-up questions on these actual things. So he is there and he is preaching. I got about 5 clips and 5 of them. The first one I want to play is really and truly just to show you that you could clip anybody. Eh? You could take anybody out of context. This is just to show you what's taking place.
The boss, you must sit down and shut up simply because you are young. Stay in the back of the bus. You must sit down and shut up simply because you are young. Stay in the back of the bus. You must sit down and shut up simply because you are young.
No. I ain't gonna nasty you, Mr. Premier. I'm just to show you. And I'm showing CCM people, I'm showing happy people. It could be done. Why be here tell young people they just know? Without no context, you ain't gonna know what taking place. What he really was talking about there is he saying that how NRP does talk to people. But what I just do there to the premier is what he do to Pat. Would I be wrong? You understand? This is how things will go. This is just an example. And it's also to show you could be cussing people and even that could get turned around by you. This is not how the game's supposed to be played. So, Mr. Premier, you need to play it fair. But anyway, let me see what else we got.
We put policies and programs in place. It is because we are committed to this island. And you cannot say that you're committed to an island or to a people if you're not committed to all of the people, including our youth. We hear all of these popular jingoism slogans.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize. This is simply pettiness now, okay? As the premier don't correct me a couple times, and he know I'm mere choice, but he correct me. So I have to say, Mr. Premier, jingoism is not the word that you want to be using there. Jingoism is extreme patriotism, especially in the form of aggressive or warlike foreign policy. I lie from Nevis. So it can't mean a jingoism. If you've been wanting to say that they're expressing something towards foreigners, but that was not the context where it was using it in that particular type, sir. So use the correct words, slow down, take your time, and then you have a lot of vocab, but get it right. Anyway, let me see if I could find something serious now.
Retirement age, the idea is that people should be moving out and allowing the young people an opportunity to come in. And let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, if that's not the case, then when will young people ever get a chance?
I love this discussion, by the way. And that comment there that the premier made, and even the general thing about premier CCM being now like they're the party of the young people, I think that it's indicating that finally Chai Libert is gonna be on the ballot. Because Chai was the youngest parliamentarian and chai has been seasoned. So chai got to be getting ready to be on the ballot. If chai wait too much longer, then he gonna get something what to know. He gonna be a old pan. So even though like, and listen, I wanna say to respect to chai labor, because I am able to, speak about chai labor, and chai ain't carrying no feelings. And you know one thing I like about chai though? Seeing how my mother teach chai mother teach me too. Lovely woman. Up to this day. Fantastic lady. But chai, you got to run. Even though you're gonna be still got the day. You go run. But right now, you only can walk. But you go build up some speed. Get off the belly so you can run. But Alvan, my point is, if there's the party of the young people and there's be grooming people, how much more grooming then going to go do with chai? Chai ain't ripe as a junior minister. This is going to be 15 years. Chai got to be running in Gingerland next election. Has to be. Can't see no other way. Congratulations to Chai. Right.
All students, I want Mandarin is what you speak down there. You're in a different culture, even different language. You go to Cuba, all students have to learn Spanish. They have to habla español before they can do what they're doing. That is the effort that our young people are making in order to come back to contribute. And many of them, let me add this, because of their qualifications, can go elsewhere. They can go to America. They can go to Europe. They can go elsewhere in the Caribbean. They choose to come home.
Well, I was told specifically to bring up this fact. I am not certain if everybody is aware of this. And by the way, see, Pat, you will learn from me. See, I'm gonna add qualifiers so that the premier can do what you're gonna do to Ayo. This is not saying that the persons who have been trained in Cuba are not qualified in any way. I did not even know what I'm about to say next. But I was told that when you are trained as a doctor in Cuba, if you want to train, if you want to practice in America, you will essentially have to go through the process all the way over, including the residency. So it is not true that the Cuban doctors are able to practice anywhere. I'm not sure how it is in the rest of the Caribbean, but for America, how is it in Europe? Were we able to ascertain anything about Europe? No, I was not able to ascertain anything about Europe either. But as far as Russia. Russia is available. Venezuela is also available. And Honduras is available. So I think that's like 2 out of the top 10 highest crime rate in the world. Good luck. But that statement is not correct. As a matter of fact, I have been told that many of the doctors, well, I can't say many. But doctors have asked rather to be trained in the UVI in other places where their credits would be accepted in America. But when you look at it, the government smart the strategy. So there is a limitation as far as the Cuban doctors. And as I said, I say them not trained. I have one more of the guy. And done with he.
3 pensioners, 3 individuals who are already past their sell-by date.
Okay. So obviously, Carlisle was getting some just know. You know that. Daddy, love you still. But anyway, I understand when the premier comes and he's the Hebrew boy and it's just Jesus meek and mild. And he is outraged, and I'm about to say the same thing, kind of thing about Calvin Daly as I'm about to say about the premier. Mr. Premier, you are outraged because you perceive the NRP hate young people and they are attacking young people. How are you speaking about pensioners? 3 people who you say pass the sell by date. But let me play out this here again, nigga. Let me remix.
3 pensioners. 3 individuals who are already past their sell-by date.
So, Mr. Premier, once again, and I'm about to go to Calvin Daly, but you pan the black right now. I don't see how, in your defense of young people, you're going to aggravate all of the older people in the community. If you are talking and saying when you're 62, you pass yourself by date, you need to understand by the next election, Eric is going to be 62. Are you going to tell the people of Gingerland to go vote for somebody who passed their sell by date? How that going to work out? You fastly coming up on 60. Sell by date. You understand? Zook, how this thing are going to work out? And I understand that you would like the rhetoric to be calmer. But this is why I've said, even in the instance of I start off with Janice, it would be nice if you could speak to Janice in a little better way. If when you saw her in Parliament, you wouldn't say that she thief. How are you setting the proper tone? I even saw this from my partner Vijay Harinarayan. And I don't read long posts, especially not for politicians, but for Vijay, I will do it. And he's saying the same thing. And I've been saying this same thing. You can come and say they're attacking the young people. And then you won't hear, and then when you talk about pensioners, you're going to say they pass their sell by date. I hear what you want to say. It's only them today you're talking about. And so you feel about all pensioners. This is the problem. And this is why it's manufactured outrage. And this is why it's political theater 2.0. To punctuate the fact that this was manufactured outrage, you did not hear the real people of Nevis calling into the show. Not really. You hear a man calling and he say, big up he people them up in the States. He not been outraged about nothing. Janelle calling. Okay. Chai calling. The most outraged person over everything that happened, the entirety of last week, is Calvin Daly. If you, okay, I would like anybody, you go and you listen to the CCM minister speak and you hear the level of outrage what them had, and then you listen to Daily talk about either Delvan you hear, listen, Daily talk about Channel this bit, and you're going to hear outrage. At one point in time when Daily been attacked, right? You see a vein in Yasoso, and you see magma inside of the vein, and flames that come out of Daily head. Daily just attack and smoke. Rah, rah, rah. Daily was outraged. CCM ministers. And listen, I don't know. Listen, you can. Isn't nobody in CCM camp really could be outraged besides the premier, you know? Not over that. Brand too cool to be outraged. Janel, same kind of situation. Eric is too upbeat to be outraged. Eric outrage gonna sound too happy. Eric cannot be the last person to call in and tell you he's outraged. Eric outrage gonna sound like Disneyland. So that cannot be what possible. Listen, when me listen to the thing, me say by Zook well man calling. Cause I know Zook would have been outraged. Zook was the man what we was missing. Didn't listen to Endpoint. Good luck with that. By the time. By the lunchtime. Wow. Seem really respectable. Let me see. But listen, in addition to try, I would have to say, based on the premier strong defense of Mr. Clark, I think that Mr. Clark, you are being groomed. You are officially being groomed for a CCM position, so that's Trident defense wise. Oh my god. You nearly a stepson. Okay. I had some other concerns by some things that the premier said. The premier mentioned, and Mr. Premier, you slip up. I can't believe you made this mistake, my brother. I had to play this thing back several times. The premier talk about Pat, and he said, at one point in time, Pat was asking for extensions. And after we done game 5, we had to say, my God. I tell you, the man been a preach. He look up in the ear. He said, my God. Me can't even put on how much because he found a fire, a dribble. So you just dribble up, my God, and dribble. But he been in his own. So, oh yeah, oh my God. With regards to Pat and those extensions, when it comes to, and you have been appointed by the government, really and truly, as far as my understanding, the premier don't come into it. This is the Public Service Commission. And I thought the premier, as a technical man, would have hired behind the Public Service Commission and said, them. Any question me ask he where he got personal accountability, he said, no, no. The last said that the Public Service Commission. I don't see anything. He said the Governor General is the one who determines when a civil servant service has ended. And the only advice I see the Governor General is supposed to seek is the Public Service Commission. Unless Mark Brantley named Public Service Commission, you have admitted to tampering in things where you know so got no call to be involved in, sir. And I would like to get a little bit of clarity as to what happened there. Because you was like, man, I be just saying no more. My God. What else you want? And you say how like you been a hold back people. Me not say no. But my understanding, I read every piece of legislation so that you know tell me I don't know how politics work. may not say nothing what that says that you have any authority to send home anybody. Even that your advice mean anything when it come to the retirement age. Another thing that the premier has confused me with is that the premier was speaking about the St. James Primary School, but he loved blaming others. How come he taking this? Alvan, in a similar way to Daly, he get a little overzealous because I wasn't right there watching him, because we inspiring so long, he wasn't cautious like normal. He not sparring with the proper partners. So he end up talking things where he ain't, he ain't supposed to be talking. And he forget everything. He said nigga research. Was he for say go? And there is no authority, as I say, for any premier who fire you as long as you have been appointed that they come down to the Public Service Commission. Oh yes, with regards to the St. James situation, the premier said that Miss Wilkin was encouraged to cuss CCM an ear publicly, which I would have feel like is incorrect as well. I don't feel like cussing is the first option. Neither the second. It's an option you better believe, but it's not the first option. Neither the second. That's when things get dire. But the premier would have said that they had a plan, and Miss Wilkin came to see him. Once again, Mr. Premier, as far as I am aware, you are not the Minister of Education. If there was a plan in place, why would there be a need to come and see you, Mr. Premier? We had this plan in place. We communicating all the time. You know the plan, me know the plan. Me just get nervous, huh? You know, sometimes you plan something. Sometimes, let me embarrass myself a little bit. Sometimes, and you just know what kind of lady you're dealing with. You know? If you and a lady got a plan, and I don't agree to everything in the plan, hey, when 6:30 come, be by X, are you gonna be by Y? And we gonna Z. If you don't agree to everything 10 o'clock, and all of a sudden in the afternoon you say, where be you been say again? What the plan be? No, I be not gonna come on a meeting. She gonna give you a 619. Cause like grown woman, oh my God. And them they set a plan. The plan is in place. And Catherine is a grown woman. I don't feel like there would have been any necessity to have any meeting with somebody who is not the Minister of Education. What talk about a plan? Bobby don't know the plan. The only way Catherine is going to the premier is if she going behind the Minister of Education back. Because this thing is so serious that I got to talk to the big man. It's either that she talking to the Minister of Education and there is no response. Because I don't understand if this is a routine circumstance. Why do we need to be having a meeting at all? We don't communicate. If you need to communicate, there's the Minister of Education. He know everything what's going on. Master plan is being followed. There's only master plan. We watch Master Chef and we got master plan. And that's how we roll. When it come to golf, we only watch one major and it's the Masters. So we go. Okay. The other concern I had with regards to the school, big up to the Winsong Foundation. I've been doing a lot of research on you guys. Been doing a lot of research on you guys. Big up to the Winsong Foundation and the donation that they would have made to the schools. Man, my God. But listen, do whatever I want with that one. I'm not knocking the donation. All I'm asking is, once again, this is being described as we had this plan. Everything that you see in is part of a master plan. I tell me, my Bradley is a genius. And I cannot understand why we have a master plan to deliver school desks and chairs in the middle of school. That's the master plan. I mean, so I'm missing. I honestly feel like these desks and chairs come because there was so much being said about the schools and there has been pressure exerted with regards to the treatment of the schools, and I feel like this was just something to say, you can't say nothing about this. I'm feeling up. As I said, me not criticize. I just, why we can't do this in the summer? That's it. But me glad they didn't get them cheers. The other part is, Mr. Premier, that video that y'all chose to send, to put out of the oldest, my God. And also, some of them video there, I got to be the lie. There is no chance, Mr. Premier, I was sending people's children to go class or sit down by some of them this day. I don't believe. I lie. Ain't no way. And some of them cheer there, I know how them cheer there does go. Them cheer there is like black cheers. Them cheer there does go like under cheer and them kind of thing there. But there is no chance, Mr. Premier. Really and truly, when I see some of them table, I say, boy, and I said, daily does be a go overboard and thing. Yeah? He had this one, I had not this. You just look down and you just see in the desk. How? That was, I feel like I was doing manufacturing outreach against I herself. When I did that, I snitched my ass every certain of them things. I only been supposed to share the video of the new things. If I saw bad things, man. Because when you look at those desks, there is no difference between the high school and the hospital. Because when you watch the outside of the high school, them man would tell you about them been upgrading the schools and them. It's only now I hear in chat saying, humbly, man. Yeah, man, we've been struggling with the interior. You know, been struggling with our desks and chairs for a while. It's expensive. Really and truly, $200,000. I feel like it's a great gesture, but I feel like more times we're supposed to be able to come up with $200,000 to invest in our children. I did a little bit more research on Winsong. Let me just get out of the gist of it. Mr. James Gaskell, oh my God. Dahlia says she not like reading, so I read that. My God, that article. Fire! Flames! And Gaskell was making observations that in 2010 that things were probably still a say about Mark Brantley. And in that time, because the premier would have said that NRP destroyed the relationship, I did not try to pursue a relationship with Winsong. But he always, I have not heard him say that he was the sole trustee of the Winsong Foundation of Nevis and would have discretion over everything. Ain't no way. And especially Mr. Gaskell's point was Anguilla actually had a board set up. So it was no one man who would determine it. But in Nevis, the board was Matt Brantley. He has shown the propensity to control everything for a long time. And early on, he was doing that. And Gaskell was saying, man, this can't work. This really gets more attention than the schools every year. Listen, when you look, the government, they say they got a maintenance program. For instance, 2028 until the maintenance program, you know, there's a definite maintenance program with regards to the NEDAX complex and the village every year. Then I'm going to take a little break after inter-primary. And by the way, inter-primary is the 2nd of April. Then I'm going to take a break after inter-primary. And then BRAP is done in the complex. And then they're going to go, no, in a really going to break because them man got to be jamming again independence. But you don't see that same schedule there. And the problem is that because culture armor skip in the summertime, when those people could be doing the work on the schools, them man got to be setting up stage and thing, boy. All set up stage, block down stage, all that kind of thing there. That the $1 million, the million US dollars that the premier had way back for the schools. I am not certain of any $1 million that he had for the school. Oh, yes. Yes, I think in the story that I did see something like I saw. I think Anguilla had get 2, but there was something because even how the premier does talk about the foundation, he ain't using the real name of the foundation. He looked like he had thought like by using the fake name that he was gonna stop me from finding. If you look up the foundation, Winsang Foundation, that's really a foundation for artists. It's really Winsang Trust. And they connected to Winsang Trust International, something like that. That's the circumstance. But you go put in the trust to find the actual company. The last thing I want to say, honey, you got to advise me, you know. Do I need to play the daily audio? Do I need to play the daily? You go ahead. Okay, all right. Daily? But you already see him treatment as a premium buy. So, there we go.
Young lady, you know, a family member approached me about 2 months ago in town and asked that I be gentle with her. You should be. And I said, I'll be gentle if she only does her job and keep her mouth off of NRP, because she is making an error by following the leader over a cliff. I said, I have nothing to say adversely.
Yeah. Watch out. I glad. I was gonna do the same thing. But Dahlia tell me. Yeah. Dr. Daly, you see if you even say that right there and stop right there, we're good. You're good. Tone, everything solid. Ladies and gentlemen, the flames are about to come on.
Give the Ministry of Health some direction, has a physical presence, be respectful, and do a job. But what I heard, she was leading the charge about Dr. Bradley need to apologize. Young lady, you need to apologize for breathing the same air as the rest of us.
You need to apologize for even being born. Because
No, Dr. Daly, I'm watching. Me not play that again. I ain't playing that day again. Dr. Daly, y'all remember I was saying, sometimes you could have a point. You have a superior logical position. You make your point about the issues, and that's fair. Dr. Daly, you crossed the line. You went way too far, way out of bounds with that one there. I don't know, John Honest, but um, I listen. I don't even know John Nisbet politics really, except that she supports the consensus. But I'm not really familiar with her politics or anything like so. Even when I wanna disagree with her, good night, I don't know. Even when I wanna disagree with Janelle, the first disagreement we had with Janelle, any me you catch the disagreement is we catch the disagreement with the $8 million. So we do have disagreements. I do, if you want to critique her experience or how she has performed in the post, I feel like that's fair. All of that's within the ball game. But when you went and talk about she need to apologize for breathing and for being bad, Dr. Daly, no man. And this is why I'm saying you're ultimately entrenching the opposition. Because Dr. Daly, this is the thing I don't really understand with you either, you know. You would make this kind of comment, and then you would be like, how come people don't like me? What me do wrong? What make them not listen to the issues? Come back to the same thing what I was telling my partner. Ain't even matter if you're right at that point, Dr. Daly. People ain't listening to you at that particular moment in time. You're gone out of bounds. You're gone overboard with your comments and with your statements. When, as I say, I don't pass it and say, "But this, I put the stuff right there." You really enjoy the next 20 seconds, and that been cool. But is at the point, boy, your posture change, boy, you been look gangster. Swivel around in the chair, and you're rocking, and you say, boy, you know, that's what. No, Dr. Daly. No, incorrect. In my estimation, I would say you also had another one on Mr. Clark. Dr. Daly with regards to the Mr. Clark situation now. Because I read the post that you said that tip you over the line. Dr. Daly, that no tip nobody over the line. That was the most benign thing. I agree with the post. Politics has become contentious. Attack the issues, not the person. How could that knock you over the line? Come on, man. And Dr. Daly, you know I would advise you to do. I got his partner who is a premier. He's a very important individual to who I just call from time to time for his sage advice. And many times I call and I say, listen, I'm thinking about this thing. I'm thinking about saying this thing. Do I have an angle, sir? Tell me how soon. I'm saying it too harsh. I'm going overboard. Do I need to dial it up? But I feel like you need a little curating, Dr. Daly. Because ultimately, sometimes you do have a point, but that point is always going to be lost if your approach is gonna be to burn down the entire plantation. And the next thing what I'm saying is, I am not sure if NRP is aware of the rules of an election. But NRP, let me just advise I have some more election, right? Y'all are approaching elections like it's a criminal case. And we have to prosecute each matter within a reasonable doubt. That is not how politics work. Politics is civil matters. You only got to be, Miss Story only got to be 1%. Well, 2%. Not even 1%. Me only go beat you by 1. And me win. And if you win by 1 3 times, guess what? You're in power, regardless of what. The next side go win the next 2. But by 2000, they will be in opposition. They will be the greatest minority opposition in history. But there is going to be in opposition, regardless. That's how this thing works. I don't understand the frustration and why all of that, when ultimately the hardcore fans going to be the hardcore fans. You know what I mean? I understand. This is like, you got to be so confident and so entrenched in certain things that you can't get knocked out. One time, a young lady father tried to knock me out. Say he's a junkin man, he's a this, he's a that. I just said, what? You know? Not he. He? No, that they make her be tighter. Thank you, daddy, for you link up a little more joiner for me. With them kind of things there. But that's why it is. When it comes to certain bands, you ain't gonna bust that. If you tell me, you could tell me right now, you wanna go by Jill. You gonna make sure that Jill vex with me. Go ahead. Labby go where you wanna bet. Anything is on, go ahead. Tell them anything. That don't make no sense. You're not supposed to be vexed for that. You are supposed to be looking for the people on the borderline. The reality of the last election is, if I think 76 more people had voted for Pat is elected, it don't matter if there's 300 people. And when you look at all the same 300 people, they're always going to support him. There's certain people who are always going to support NRP. What you going to do? Vex. What about when you make the stupid statement there and you put these same people in the position where they got to go defend you? Not me, no. Me going to tell you what is your talk. But what about them there? You put you got to go defend that. And that's why I'm saying I'm seeing the same thing on both sides. And both of y'all, all of y'all. You had one point in time when I literally said last year, yo, tell me, and the mark you are need to chill out. Yeah. I get in there. You know, we need all of that. Y'all was reaching the Jerry Springer level. And we don't need all of that in the political discourse. Ultimately, we are trying to advance the cause and Evis. Whoever get it, but within civilized means and standards. And that's how come I was telling my partner Vijay. I do know that there are a number of younger persons who say they don't want to get involved in the politics because of how it is. It may be time for us to go in and change it too. And change the standard. It would only be for the people of Nevis to reward anything like that if that movement were pursued. If the returns are within a certain level, ultimately that would lead to the destruction of one of the parties. So y'all either need to get it together or younger persons are gonna get it together. Another thing that I'm confused about, because CCM confused me and Happy confused me. When we really talk about the hospital, you don't need to go overboard with nothing what you say. CCMA need to go overboard and tell me how great the hospital be, and NRPA need to tell me how bad the hospital be. Real people know there are certain things the hospital could take care of. If you're going up there for something routine, in my estimation, you won't get to go to Alexandria Hospital. But as I said before, and as I've been told by not one, but at least two persons who serve in the US military, they were told by their superiors, when you're on Nevis, if anything happen, try reach a real hospital because they have a health center. That is not, and bring back that around, because that is the scenario, kind of scenario what Pat's speaking about. And that is what I'm saying too. You got something routine? Me done had surgery in Alexandria and me not even been under anesthesia. And me get you good. I told you all how wonderful it was. I don't even got a scar. I'm good to go. But when it comes to medical emergencies, and as I said, this is people who serve in the US military, man, no. That's not what it's gonna be happening if it's a severe circumstance. And that is a reality of the situation right now. You can't get around that. Ain't no knocking that. Trying to remember. I had one more thing to say about the premier tonight. No, enough me pan and Pat confusing me. No, enough confusing me. Dale vexing me. Yeah, me done. No, yeah, I may have had one more thing, but overall, I did everything that I came to do this evening. As I said, next week we're gonna be speaking with the Rastaman about the Cannabis Commission, their inactivity. I think the Rastaman was also doing something with the children and their hair. So I may ask him one or two questions about that. But yeah. I think, yeah, Dalia said that NRP needs a PR team. I think that is my greater point to the NRP. I think that Devon certainly should be utilized. I don't know what capacity he is used in, but he certainly should be utilized. And whoever else you got. That gotta happen. Let me see. I remember a call. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna say good night to y'all for this evening, and hope y'all join us next week. I talk to the rest of them, and if not, well, not even if not, and also on Tell Me on Thursday. By the time my father got two more weeks of what we'll get from Mark Brantley. By the time I hear him. That's why people have their eyes open. Oh, Iona, you make me remember. That's why people have their eyes open, ears and minds to vote for the real issues that affect us here on the island. And Iona, you make the right point. I keep on hearing people say, them not understand how come Nevis people not understand. Especially NRP. How come they can't get it in their head? Nevis people way smarter than we give them credit for. Them know what going on up by the hospital. All when Daily been a say what you been a say about Delvon. Daily you know really got to roll like us so. Nevis people don't know Delvon and they don't make up their mind. So what is the circumstance? Really and truly, you should have played in the opposite way. You should have loved that. But anyway, good night. I were playing the music.
With myself cause I feel like I have nobody to turn to. Everything was green light, now we got the red. Could've had somebody else choose you instead. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. You tried to convince me it was all in my head, and I felt like it's not you, it's me instead. Hey, I wanted to rock with you, roll with you. Said you was my baby girl, then you left me too. Everything was kosher, perfect like a poster. Then I got word that you wanna lead a picture. Off with somebody else, off with the jerk. With the shame on me, I really thought that it could work. Off with somebody else, off with the loser. Shame on me, I really thought we had a. Lately I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to talk to. I be having conversations with myself cause I feel like I have nobody to turn to.